I do believe that we can stop referring to MG as a new brand in the country. I truly believe that we can say that they are now an established brand in the country, thanks largely to the popularity of such models as the MG ZS and the MG5. Now, as an established player in the country, obviously the natural progression would be to get better with your products, such as in the case of the ZS. You now have the MG ZST, a bit more price for a bump in performance. The same goes for the MG5, a bit more price for a bit of performance. And that manifests itself in this, the 2023 MG GT. Now, I know exactly what it is that you're thinking because I and Jack had the exact same thought during our walk around, which, by the way, the links are down below, which is that, damn, that car looks good. And you're right. We also probably had the exact same question, which is, does it drive as well as it looks? Stick around and find out on this episode of Behind the Wheel. Are you looking to compare prices for your brand new car? Well then, visit AutoDeal.com.ph, select the car that you want, and choose to request for a quote from our network of over 500 official dealer partners nationwide. Within minutes, you'll start receiving offers from the dealers you've selected. All that's left is for you to select the deal that's best for you. Get the best deal on AutoDeal. Jack and I have covered this car quite extensively on the walk around that we just previously mentioned, and if you'd like to see it, again, the links are somewhere down below, but we were thinking that we won't talk about the exterior of the automobile anymore, but we can't not do it because it's just so darn good looking. So we'll give you a quick little walk around of the automobile with some highlights that we love. For instance, the grille, the flaming grille looks great, very, very unique in the market. I love it. The way the car hunkers down as if it's trying to get as much grip from the road as possible. I love that too. These lights, very sleek, looks somewhat like a Mercedes, right? It's an all LED fare. I like that. Lots of cuts on the front clip, including this faux carbon fiber chin. These are vents. They actually work to help with the aerodynamics of the car. Moving down the side, 17-inch wheels wrapped in 50 series tires. These wheels may look familiar to you because they were somewhat lifted from the ZST. Now that's a crossover. Does it work on a sedan? To be honest with you, yeah. They really, really do. You've got repeaters on the side mirror with cameras on either side mirror, which means, yes, inside of this compact sedan, it's a 360-degree view monitor. I like that a lot. Chrome from the A-pillar all the way to the rear, and it really does a great job of showing you the beautiful shape of this automobile with this gorgeous fastback appeal and large rear window. Look at that. With the duck's tail, oh my goodness, just look at it. It really is a darn good looking automobile, isn't it? Then you've got these very Jaguar looking large tail lights. It's just, from this angle, from where you are, that is one good looking car, huh? Reflectors here on the side. Down here below, you've got tail finishers, which are, unfortunately, that's what I feel like is a miss because these are just garnishes. The real exhaust is all the way underneath, which is sad because there's two and I wish that they had actually used this. I like this though, the fog lamp at the rear. When you open her up, you are looking at 401 liters of space. It may not look like much because the opening is quite small and I don't think you can fit the balikbayan box straight in there, but larger travel suitcases, yeah, you should be able to put it in. It's quite deep, no issues whatsoever. A golf bag, yeah, that thing's gonna be like a swimming pool for a golf bag. It's not for anything, but I wanted to mention this. It has a nice pull tab for your spare tire underneath. Look at it, it's cute. It's red and black. Quite sporty. You also can increase the space by folding the seats in the back, which according to Jack can fit 2 bicycles. Why we know that? Shh, nobody we're not telling anyone. There is one drawback here at the rear that it's, for me anyway, is that the third brake light is found down here. Now, most third brake lights are found in a sedan up here. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of it because it can impede your vision when you're looking in the rear view mirror. Not that you need to see what's directly on the floor, right? No, it's just that I guess it's something that you're just not used to. How it works? Well, it works darn great because it's actually very, very visible. But it's just something that I wish that they had left it up there. Let's get into the rear seat, shall we? Okay, rear seats of the GT. Space-wise, the legroom is decent enough and the headroom is too. Okay, it's roughly about the same amount of space. I want to point out that this is not anybody's normal driving position. This is Jack's normal driving position, and he's quite a tall person. So him being almost 6 feet tall, if another person of his height wanted to sit back here, yeah, it might be possible. It wouldn't be the most comfortable thing, though, because your knees would either be inside the driver's back or underneath your chin in Jack's case. But kaya kung sakaya if you really wanted to push it, but better obviously for smaller adults like myself. The material of the seats is a little bit on the rubbery side. I wanted something a bit more supple, but at the very least, what you can say about this material is that it's actually very, very easy to clean. You've got some red stitching and some red accent pieces on the seats, which add to its sportiness, but the seats itself, or themselves, aren't very sporty in the sense that it's not very, very bolstered, and it doesn't suck you in, and it doesn't have, let's say, a suede patch here in the center to keep your butt steady. What it is, well, it's actually more relaxed. That's what I feel that the seats inside this automobile feel more like. So it's quite the departure from the exterior, which is so sporty. Here it's actually more relaxed. How that translates to when you're driving, we'll get to a little bit later. More toys in here include a vent in the center, just one, however, and then a Type A USB charging port and a cubby hole found down here. The tunnel is a bit on the high side, and if you can see that, so a third passenger might actually be an issue. So you're better off just keeping it to smaller adults like myself. There are other textures inside this car on the door, which is you've got this texture here, this, a lot going on. Not too much that it's so busy, but what it does mean though, however, that all these textures are just in plastic, so it's not as supple as you wanted it. You'd expect it to be for a car that just looks so gorgeous from the outside. What is more supple is definitely the front seats. Let's get to that right now. So again, for the front seats, very, very comfortable, not sporty like. It does look sporty, but it's actually more comfortable than you'd expect. You have power seats, which is, it's going to take me some time to get into my proper driving position because that was Jack's seating position. So you do have a lumbar support that is not powered. It's just a lever that you turn clockwise and counterclockwise. When you do get into your proper driving position, you can move the steering wheel up and down. Unfortunately, it is not telescopic. I think that's a miss. But everything else is actually okay. You've got a lot of textures inside the automobile, starting with the very hard dashboard. And then you have more plastics here in different shapes and whatnot. It kind of mimics or sort of like... it's a good complement to the wheels outside, I believe, right? And then more brushed aluminum here. I'm going to start the engine because it's kind of warm. And then the thing about it, though, is that you do have a lot of piano black plastics found directly here and then on the shifter. Why are you blinking? Caution, stop. Shh, I'm trying to do a video here. The instrument cluster is an all-digital affair, very big, and it's the LCD screen is actually colored. On the steering wheel, you have buttons to control those functions, as well as to control the functions of your infotainment system. Your infotainment system is a 10-inch touchscreen with, of course, like I mentioned, a 360-degree view reverse camera. It has also Android and Apple capabilities. The drawback is that it doesn't load immediately. There is somewhat of a lag, a bit of a delay. So if you were to get into the automobile, there is a physical button for the air conditioning itself, which is, I'm going to turn that on right there, which is nice because you can turn on the air conditioning immediately, and then if the volume is too loud, you can make the volume, mute the volume immediately. The thing about it is though, like I said, it's a bit laggy. So let's say you want to get into your air conditioning, you press this button and you get to your air conditioning there, and you adjust it like such and so on and so forth, and you do whatnot. But to be able to go back to, let's say for example, you were on a drive and you were using your Apple CarPlay, you'd have to press another button. You have to go to home first, and then you'd have to go to Apple CarPlay and so on and so forth. So there's that extra step. It's not exactly seamless. It's there, most definitely, but I guess we're just nitpicking because we got used to systems that will just sort of like after a certain amount of time will eventually go back to the previous menu or the previous screen that you were on.
Or physical buttons.
Or physical buttons, as Jack did mention. There are physical buttons. Well, I was telling Jack there are at least physical buttons here to go for your, like I said, your audio, your home, your air, even your temperature immediately. So that I think I do appreciate. Other things in here, you've got a pad here that you can keep your cell phone in, but unfortunately it isn't wireless charging. You have your ports here, your 12-volt socket here, air vents and whatnot. A pretty decent sized cubby hole here. Bottle holders, they are on the door. You can see this. On the door, there is no said bottle holder. It's actually more of like a compartment because the bottle slides. It's pretty big enough to put the bottle in. Your bottle holders or cup holders are here in the center. So big enough definitely for mine, but if you were to put Jack's, no, that's not gonna work. There is also an electronic parking brake, auto hold of course, and an electronic shifter, which has piano blacks, but for some strange reason on this particular instance, my fingerprints are not sticking onto it. Galing.
Just dry.
It could be, yeah. What if
You need some lotion.
Why? Do you have lotion? Do you always carry lotion around?
You're the one that always carries
If
lotion.
you feel as if that this video deserves a like, please do give us one. Do consider also subscribing to our channel because we create these videos just for you guys. Now, Jack, if you would do me the honor of jumping inside the automobile so we can tell all the viewers if this car really does drive as well as it looks on the outside. Let's go! On the business end of the MG GT is a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine that is obviously turbo attached to it. It produces 159 horses and 250 Newton meters of torque, mated to a 7-speed DCT. Now that 7-speed DCT is, I gotta be honest with you, that is what basically was keeping me a bit skeptical, because we figured it was going to be the same DCT as they found, as you find rather, on the MGHS, which really wasn't so great. It needed a little bit of help. In fact, when you put it into reverse, every once in a while, the car would not engage immediately. So we figured that it was going to be the same DCT, and we were told it was going to be the same DCT, but with improvements. Now, what kind of improvements? Well, I am happy to tell you that there has been a lot of improvement in the DCT. It now shifts pretty smooth, or much smoother than before. There is no, say, pull of the automobile when you release the accelerate, or when you release the brake pedal and you get yourself some momentum going. And to a point where it doesn't feel like the car is jerky at all. So have there been improvements to the DCT? Oh yes, much so. How does it drive? A heck of a lot better than the previous DCT. How does it drive inside this automobile? Well, to be honest with you, paired with the engine, although it is a quite powerful engine, in total, I feel as if that it truly is a very relaxed drive. It's I hate to say this, but I feel as if that the drive itself is a very large departure from what the car looks on the outside. It does still point and go where you turn it to, kind of a thing, but really the comfort level inside this automobile is actually quite nice. But I'm not saying it's a slouch either because, well, this thing has a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour timer, and then when you floor it, it does still certainly pull. Oh. Now, when you're not flooring it like the child that I am, and you take it out on, let's say, for example, on longer drives, again, hate to sound like a broken record, but it's really a comfortable seating position. The drive is good, and VH is actually kept quite low. The car is very stable on straights and even in twisties. On straights, when there's a crosswind, when you're on the highway, it doesn't feel like you're gonna get toppled over. It's pretty stable on twisty roads. And then there's the fact that, well, we did do the acceleration test, but you can accelerate this car from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 8.6 seconds, which you can use the timer inside the instrument cluster to get just those times itself. We were able to do it in 8.3 or 8.4 if I'm not mistaken, unless Jack had a time with this car and then changed the settings altogether. Did you mess with this car?
No, I'm a good boy.
You did, didn't you?
No.
I'm gonna tell MG on you.
No.
Yep, I am. And then when technology comes into play, let's say for example you do park the automobile, the camera, the 360 works well. It's a bit on the blurry side, to be honest, but at least it's there. You've got tech that you expect inside the automobile, like we mentioned, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's really a very pleasant car to drive, which it's odd because I'm always thinking, in my head, I've got this thing that it's a very sporty automobile and it should be a very sporty drive, but it's not. It's actually, I don't want the word tame to sound like it's very, what do you call this? Derogatory in this sense, but no, in this sense, when I use the word tame, it's actually a compliment because it is. It's a very tame drive. Oh, and of course, there is also the question of fuel efficiency, which I can tell you inside the city, when it is quite bad, you'll get about 9 kilometers per liter inside the city. On the highway, better, 14 and a half to 15 kilometers per liter. Now, this tests that we conducted were not in the manner that we got on the highway, started driving, and then reset everything. No, and put it on cruise control. No, not at all. It was a reset and then get onto the highway and drive properly, as if you wanted to overtake certain cars that were driving at 60 kilometers per hour on the left lane, no matter how much you flash your lights at them or beep them. And then you Jack, knowing him, he likes to make them get a little bit. And I have to tell him to sort of like, I do not take that back. Please take it back. This is being recorded. He's not going to take it back. I just came to the realization that I've been going about this all wrong. See, I've been driving this automobile, looking at this automobile, thinking that the whole package will be exactly what I'm looking at, a sporty sedan, when in fact, I should have been paying more attention to its name, because the MG GT does actually drive more like a GT, really. I'm not saying it's a GT, obviously, no. But the fact that you've got a sporty package and it drives actually much more comfortable rather than being such a sporty sedan is what makes you think that, yeah, it does obviously drive more like a GT, which is quite remarkable considering the price. See, this top-end MG GT Sport variant is just under 1,200,000 Philippine pesos. Not bad. And then the Alpha, the base model, starts at just a hair over 1 million Philippine pesos. Head on over to AutoDeal.com.ph. Try the Get Quote button. There's even promos available on these cars, man. It's quite a feat. Now, this obviously wraps up our behind-the-wheel review of the MG GT, but if you have been following our videos on our channel, we just also recently did a review of a car from the same country in the same sporty package with almost the same specifications under the hood. So like an automobile that progresses over time, like the MG ZS into the ZST or the MG5, better off with the MG GT, the next step, I guess, would be a Comparo. What do you guys think? Game? Let's do it.